Men are ungrateful, fickle, liars and deceivers, fearful of danger and greedy for gain. Niccolo Machiavelli. Pause for a moment. Read that again. Now ask yourself, if Machiavelli's words were true in the 1500s, do you really believe people are any different today? From childhood, you've been told a comforting lie. Be nice, be kind, and people will respect you. Really? Look around. Do the most selfless co-workers get promoted, or do the cunning ones rise faster? Do the nicest friends get gratitude, or do they get used as free therapists, wallets, or errand boys? In relationships, does being endlessly forgiving spark love, or does it quietly kill attraction? Have you ever been taken advantage of just for being too nice? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Niceness without power is weakness, and weakness is like blood in the water. Predators smell it instantly. Think about the guy at work who always says yes, who stays late, covers shifts, lends money, never complains. Does anyone admire him? Or do they silently expect him to pick up the slack again and again? That's not respect. That's exploitation. Machiavelli saw it clearly. People don't respect your intentions. They respect your ability to enforce boundaries. And if you have no boundaries, you're announcing to the world, "Come and use me." Let me tell you about David. He was the kind of friend everyone loved having around, always driving people home, always paying for drinks, always happy to help. But here's the twist. When David finally needed help moving apartments, guess how many of those friends showed up? 0. Why? Because in their eyes, David wasn't respected. He was useful, and when usefulness ran out, so did loyalty. Ask yourself, are you David in your social circle? Here's where Machiavelli separates dreamers from survivors. Idealism says, if I'm good, people will treat me well. Realism says, people act out of self-interest first. You might wish for a world where kindness is currency, but the real world pays only in power, strategy, and respect. This is why Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved," if you cannot be both. Not because cruelty is noble, but because fear guarantees respect, while love without fear guarantees betrayal. Modern psychology backs this up. People pleasers are more likely to experience burnout, be exploited in workplaces, and lose attraction in relationships. Why? Because constant self-sacrifice signals low value. The partner who never argues is not adored, they're ignored. The employee who never says no is not rewarded, they're buried in more tasks. The friend who always sacrifices isn't honored, they're forgotten. The world doesn't reward martyrs, it forgets them. Imagine tomorrow you wake up and stop apologizing for things that don't deserve an apology. You stop explaining yourself every time you say no. You stop chasing people who don't respect you. What happens? At first, some people will be shocked. Some might call you selfish. But watch closely. Suddenly, they start treating your time differently. Suddenly, they weigh their words before asking for favors. Suddenly, you matter. Because respect doesn't come from being agreeable, it comes from being untouchable. Write this in the comments if you're ready to change. I refuse to be weak. I choose power and control. This is not arrogance. This is survival. Machiavelli never sugar-coated human nature. He knew men are selfish, that morality bends under pressure, and that weakness invites betrayal. So here's the brutal truth. Be nice without strength, and you'll be used. Show boundaries with consequences, and you'll be respected. Combine kindness with strategy, and you'll be unstoppable. The choice is yours. Do you want to be remembered as someone who was liked or someone who was respected? Because history never remembers the harmless. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Niccolo Machiavelli. Most people misinterpret this line. They think Machiavelli was encouraging cruelty, but he wasn't talking about sadism, he was talking about survival. Because here's the reality, love is fragile, but fear is reliable. Love feels powerful, but it has no teeth. It depends on goodwill, and goodwill evaporates the moment self-interest clashes with it. A friend who loves you but borrows money? Well, love doesn't make him repay you. Fear of consequence does. An employee who loves the company? Love doesn't stop her from taking a higher offer. Fear of losing her reputation does. A partner who says, "I love you forever." Love doesn't stop betrayal when temptation arrives. Fear of losing access to you does. Do you think people are more loyal to love or to what they fear losing? Drop your answer below. Picture this. Two managers lead the same kind of team. Manager A is loved. He's always smiling, always forgiving, always trying to keep everyone happy. Manager B is respected. He's fair, but strict. Everyone knows his standards. Everyone knows that if you slack, there will be consequences. Which team performs better? The first team admires their boss, but misses deadlines, cuts corners, and constantly tests limits. The second team, they might not like their boss as much, but they respect him enough to deliver. Love inspires comfort. Fear inspires discipline. Here's where Machiavelli was truly ruthless. He called morality what it really is, a mask. People project virtue not because they live by it, but because it benefits them. Politicians talk about honesty while lying. Business leaders talk about fairness while exploiting. Friends talk about loyalty while betraying when it suits them. Morality sounds noble, but when tested against self-interest, it collapses. Machiavelli warned rulers to never depend on morality. Instead, he advised, appear moral, but act strategically, because appearances build trust, but strategy builds survival. Let's make this personal. In love, people think forgiveness, unconditional support, and endless compromise will strengthen bonds. But what happens instead? Respect dies. The partner who always gives in, who never challenges, who tolerates disrespect for the sake of love, slowly becomes invisible. The respected partner, on the other hand, isn't cruel, but they set boundaries. They enforce standards. They are not afraid to walk away. And that very possibility creates a kind of fear. Not fear of pain, fear of loss, fear of losing access to someone valuable. Have you ever noticed how people chase more when they know they could lose you? Imagine two world leaders. One promises fairness, peace, and endless kindness. He's loved for his speeches. The other cultivates unpredictability, projects strength, and makes it clear that betrayal will be punished. Which leader do enemies hesitate to cross? History shows it's not the kind speaker. It's the one whose wrath carries consequences. Apply this to your own life. If people know they can cross you without consequence, they eventually will. Here's the key point. Machiavelli wasn't saying, be evil. He was saying, balance love with fear. Fear doesn't mean you scream, punish, or intimidate. It means if someone disrespects you, they lose access. If someone wastes your time, they don't get another chance. If someone betrays you, there's no way back. That's not cruelty. That's structure. That's respect. Think of parenting. A child raised with only love grows spoiled, but a child raised with love and clear consequences grows disciplined. Adults are no different. In modern workplaces, nice leaders believe friendliness will earn loyalty. But without fear of consequences, employees cut corners. In friendships, nice friends believe generosity will earn reciprocity. But without boundaries, they get drained. In relationships, nice partners believe sacrifice will earn devotion. But without standards, they get ignored. Love without fear is hollow. Fear without love is harsh. The balance of both is power. So here's my challenge to you. If you had to choose between being loved but disrespected or feared but respected, what would you choose? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to see how many of you are brave enough to admit the truth. Fear is not about cruelty. It's about self-respect. It's about creating boundaries so strong that people think twice before crossing you. Love may win hearts. Fear wins loyalty. And together, love balanced with fear creates unshakable power. So I'll leave you with Machiavelli's wisdom. Men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance. People don't remember kindness as much as they remember consequences. Which will you leave behind? The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Niccolo Machiavelli. The world today isn't different from Machiavelli's Florence. It's just disguised in suits, smartphones, and polite smiles. But underneath, the same ruthless games are being played. Every office, every social circle, every relationship is a battlefield. The question is, are you the fox, the lion, or the prey? Most people think power games are only for politicians and billionaires. Wrong. You're already in one at work. When a colleague takes credit for your idea, that's a power game. Among friends, when someone dictates where the group goes every weekend, that's a power game. In relationships, when one partner makes all the sacrifices while the other enjoys comfort, that's a power game. Where do you feel the strongest power games in your life? Work, friends, or relationships? The truth is, you may not play the game consciously, but you're being played regardless. Machiavelli lived in royal courts full of schemers and flatterers. Today's equivalent, the corporate office. Think about it. The nice guy employee thinks merit and hard work will be rewarded. He stays late, delivers results, and waits patiently. But the Machiavellian coworker, they understand the game. They manage perception. They know when to flatter, when to undercut, when to appear indispensable. Who rises? Not the hardest worker, the clever fox who avoids traps, and the intimidating lion who enforces standards. Mini story. In one company I studied, two equally smart managers competed for promotion. One believed results would speak for themselves. The other built alliances, showcased wins, and subtly made the first look invisible. Guess who got promoted? The fox-lion hybrid. The other was left wondering why merit wasn't enough. Now look at your friendships. Even in casual groups, hierarchies form. Someone becomes the leader, the one whose opinion carries weight, whose jokes people laugh at, whose invitations get priority. How does this happen? Through small power moves. Who interrupts without being challenged? Who makes bold statements without apologizing? Who sets boundaries and still keeps respect? Meanwhile, the agreeable friend who goes with the flow becomes background noise. In your friend group, are you shaping decisions or just following them? Love may be the mask, but power is the reality. Relationships are full of hidden negotiations. Who compromises more? Whose career takes priority? Who controls intimacy, time, and attention? If you're always the one giving in, sacrificing, forgiving, you're not building love, you're surrendering power. Machiavelli's fox and lion metaphor applies perfectly. Be the fox to detect manipulation, emotional guilt, silent treatment, subtle control. Be the lion to enforce respect, set boundaries, demand balance, and walk away when necessary. The strongest relationships aren't built on endless compromise. They're built on balance of respect, reinforced by the subtle fear of loss. Imagine two partners. One says yes to everything, tolerates bad behavior, forgives endlessly. The other sets standards, gives affection freely, but never tolerates disrespect. Which partner loses attraction first? Which partner maintains it? The answer is obvious. Respect fuels desire. Weakness kills it. Machiavelli warned, a fox without lion strength gets eaten. A lion without fox's cunning falls into traps. The clever employee who outsmarts rivals but never enforces authority gets sidelined. The aggressive boss who intimidates but doesn't see betrayal coming is destroyed. To thrive in modern life, you must master both. Fox, subtle, observant, strategic. Lion, bold, commanding, decisive. Ask yourself, right now, are you more fox, more lion, or dangerously close to prey? Here's the cruel part. Even if you're talented, smart, or kind, if you don't project fox and lion energy, people will treat you like prey. Every room you walk into is scanning you. Do you speak with confidence, or do you over-explain? Do you enforce boundaries or fold to pressure? Do you project calm strength or nervous eagerness? Your behavior answers those questions whether you realize it or not. Two entrepreneurs launch similar startups. The first focuses only on product. He trusts fairness, avoids conflict, and assumes good work will be rewarded. The second manages both product and perception. He cultivates an image of dominance, sets ruthless standards, and makes rivals fear underestimating him. 5 years later, one is bankrupt, the other is a market leader. Both were intelligent, but only one played fox and lion. Workplace, friendships, relationships, it's all the same court Machiavelli wrote about, just modernized. You can pretend the games don't exist, but that doesn't stop them from being played against you. The fox survives traps. The lion scares wolves. Prey gets eaten. So next time you're at work, at dinner with friends, or in an argument with your partner, ask yourself, am I moving the pieces, or am I just another pawn on someone else's chessboard? Because survival isn't about being nice, it's about being strategic, respected, and untouchable. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Niccolo Machiavelli. If you've made it this far, you already know life is not fair. It's strategic. And to survive, you need more than good intentions. You need weapons. Machiavelli gave us the blueprint. Today, I'll give you the arsenal. 6 weapons you must master if you want to stop being prey and start being untouchable. Weapon 1, control your image. Your image is more powerful than your truth. People rarely see your intentions. They judge you by appearance, posture, tone, and reputation. If you look weak, they treat you as weak. If you look commanding, they treat you as commanding, even if you're still figuring it out. Mini story. James was brilliant at his job, but always slouched, apologized too much, and spoke hesitantly. His less talented colleague, who carried himself with confidence, was promoted instead. Why? Because image merit. Have you ever seen someone less talented rise higher just because of confidence? Weapon 2, the power of silence. Most people can't stand silence. They rush to fill it with explanations, justifications, excuses, and every unnecessary word bleeds power. Machiavelli would say, silence is strategy. In negotiations, silence makes the other side reveal more. In conflicts, silence forces the offender to feel the weight of their disrespect. In daily interactions, silence creates mystery, and mystery attracts respect. Mini story. In one negotiation, a young CEO responded to a final offer with nothing but a 10-second pause. The silence pressured the investors so much they sweetened the deal themselves. Next time you're pressured for a quick answer, pause for 5 seconds. Notice how the room shifts. Weapon 3, boundaries with consequences. A boundary without enforcement is just a suggestion. People don't respect what you say, they respect what you back up. If you allow lateness repeatedly, you've taught people your time is worthless. If you forgive betrayal without consequence, you've told them betrayal is safe. Mini story. Maria had a friend who constantly canceled plans last minute. At first, Maria forgave. Then she started ignoring future invitations. Soon that friend either showed up on time or stopped wasting her time. What's one boundary in your life that you've let people cross too often? Weapon 4, calculated ruthlessness. This is the principle that makes people squirm. A prince must learn how not to be good. Calculated ruthlessness is not cruelty. It's courage. The courage to cut off what weakens you. Fire the toxic employee, even if they're talented. End the draining relationship, even if you care. Say no to opportunities that derail your vision. Mini story. Steve Jobs once fired people publicly, not because he enjoyed cruelty, but because he knew fear of consequence built discipline. Love alone would never have built Apple into a powerhouse. I choose strategy over blind goodness. Drop it in the comments if you agree. Weapon 5, unpredictability. Predictability is control. If people can predict your every response, they can manipulate you. Machiavelli warned, "Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times." That means sometimes say yes, sometimes say no. Sometimes reveal your thoughts. Sometimes say nothing. Sometimes compromise. Sometimes enforce ruthlessly. Mini story. One political leader I studied alternated between extreme warmth and cold silence. No one could predict him. Allies feared losing favor. Enemies feared guessing wrong. That unpredictability made him untouchable. If everyone knows you'll always say yes, what power do you really have? Weapon 6. Be useful, not harmless. Harmless people avoid conflict, never speak up, never challenge. They're liked, maybe, but never respected. Useful people, on the other hand, solve problems, bring value, and step up when it matters. People fear losing the useful. They ignore the harmless. Mini story. During a crisis in one company, one employee stepped up with solutions while others panicked. That employee wasn't the nicest, but he became indispensable. His career skyrocketed because he was useful, not harmless. Ask yourself, are you actually valuable or just convenient? Version 1. You explain yourself constantly, say yes to everything, forgive endlessly. People smile at you, but forget you. Version 2. You control your image, use silence strategically, enforce boundaries, practice calculated ruthlessness, stay unpredictable, and make yourself useful. People may not always like you, but they respect you. Which version wins? This is your arsenal. Image, silence, boundaries, ruthlessness, unpredictability, usefulness. Without them, you're naked on the battlefield. With them, you're armed and dangerous. Not cruel, but untouchable. Remember, manipulation and ruthlessness are already being used against you. The only question is, will you walk unarmed or will you fight back with weapons sharper than theirs? Comment below. Which weapon are you going to sharpen first? Because those who prepare their arsenal control the game. Those who don't become casualties of it. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but few can feel. Niccolo Machiavelli appearances shape judgment. Actions shape outcomes. Enforcement shapes reality. You've seen the brutal truths of human nature, the balance of fear and love, the hidden power games, and the Machiavellian arsenal. Now comes the final step, turning knowledge into presence, becoming untouchable. Step 1. Stop living like prey. Most people cling to the illusion of fairness. They believe kindness will save them. They think being harmless earns safety. But Machiavelli knew the opposite. Prey attracts predators. Mini story. I once coached a young man named Alex. Brilliant, kind, generous, but always exploited. Co-workers dumped work on him. Friends used him. His girlfriend lost respect. Why? Because he believed being good was enough. The day he started enforcing boundaries, saying no, refusing to apologize for his worth, everything changed. People treated him differently overnight. Be honest, have you been more like Alex? Prey instead of predator? Step 2. Project Relentless Strength Power begins with projection. Walk into any room like you belong. Speak less, listen more. Don't explain unless necessary. Carry yourself as if respect is non-negotiable. Why does this matter? Because people are scanning you constantly. The moment they smell hesitation, they see opportunity. The moment they sense calm confidence, they adjust their behavior. What's one change you could make tomorrow to project more strength? Your posture, your tone, or your silence? Step 3. Build a reputation that fights for you. Reputation is armor. It travels faster than you, protects you when you're not present, and either defends you or destroys you. If you're known as unreliable, people won't depend on you. If you're known as generous but spineless, people will exploit you. If you're known as strict but fair, people will respect you, even behind your back. Mini story. In Florence, Cesare Borgia's reputation alone silenced enemies before they even acted. Today, reputations work the same. Google searches, whispers in offices, private messages in group chats. When people mention your name in a room you're not in, do they feel respect or indifference? Step 4. Enforce consequences. Without mercy, words are meaningless without teeth. If you declare a boundary, enforce it. Every time you let disrespect slide, you train people that disrespect is safe. If someone wastes your time, remove access. If someone betrays you, close the door. If someone disrespects you, don't argue, enforce. I don't beg for respect, I enforce it. Write it in the comments if you're ready. Step 5. Shape environments instead of reacting. The untouchable don't just adapt to environments, they bend them. In business, they design systems where others depend on them. In friendships, they create gravity, others orbit around them. In relationships, they set rhythms where respect becomes automatic. Mini story. A CEO once told me, "I don't compete in games others set, I design the games." That's what Machiavelli meant by mastering fortune. Don't just play, set the rules. In your own life, are you reacting to others' games or shaping the board yourself? Step 6. Balance fear and love. This is the eternal Machiavellian paradox. Fear without love breeds rebellion. Love without fear breeds betrayal. The untouchable balance both. Be kind, but only from strength. Be loved, but respected enough to be feared. Be feared, but never hated. The goal is not cruelty. The goal is balance. When people fear losing you and love having you, you've achieved real power. Step 7. Cultivate mystery. Predictability is weakness. Mystery is magnetic. Don't reveal everything. Don't always respond immediately. Don't explain every decision. Keep people guessing. A touch of unpredictability makes others tread carefully. Machiavelli knew, people respect what they can't fully control. Do people know exactly how you'll react, or are you unpredictable enough to command respect? Imagine walking into work tomorrow. People lower their voices when you enter. Friends hesitate before making demands. Your partner watches you more carefully, knowing you won't tolerate disrespect. Not because you became cruel, but because you became untouchable. This transformation doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. When you integrate all these steps, rejecting preyhood, projecting strength, building reputation, enforcing consequences, shaping environments, balancing fear and love, and cultivating mystery, you become more than respected. You become untouchable. And once you reach that point, people don't just treat you differently. They remember you differently. Not as someone who was liked, but as someone who shaped outcomes. So I ask you, would you rather be loved but weak, or respected even if feared? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you've made it this far, you're already part of the rare few who dare to see the world as it truly is. Subscribe to Ruthless Psychology and join this community of predators, not prey. Machiavelli once said, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." Stop begging, stop waiting, stop being the nice guy, because nice guys are forgotten. The Machiavellian are remembered. Be feared, be respected, be untouchable.